Welcome. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we are so delighted that you have welcomed us into your home. You know, we would love to hear from you. So send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. Well, today our guest is Mary Haseltine. She is a Catholic birth doula, a childbirth educator, and Mary has written a book titled Made for This, a Catholic Mom's Guide to Birth. And this beautiful book is available at ewtnrc.com. And how important that this book is for women and marriages, for husbands, because you were a part of everything, and you were present at all of our deliveries, birthing, labor. You were the man. You were right there present with me. And for us, we didn't want a lot of other people in the room. A lot of other people weren't in the room when we created those children, and we just wanted an intimate moment, just me and you, and Jesus and all the angels and saints. And that's how we navigated it, and that's how we went through it. And it was really beautiful for us. Our families were very far away, and so we didn't physically have them close by, but we had friends that came and stuff. But so every birth experience is different for everyone. And I think what Mary's, the purpose of her book is to encourage us to say, this is very natural, this is very beautiful, this is very spiritual, it's physical, it's emotional, and there's a better way to do it. And I just want to give you some guidance through that journey.
So the book, Made for This, and the website, that's very important, madefforthisbirth.net/about. Made for This Birth provides women with the support, information, resources, and confidence needed to have the pregnancy, birth, and postpartum experience that God designed for them, and more, so much more. Eucharistic Congress 2024 is taking place next July 17th through the 21st. For more information, go to or visit ewtn.com/Eucharist. Registering through EWTN link will get you $75 off the admission price. So we'll be right back to discuss the great importance of the transformational power and the blessing of every child. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and today our guest is Mary Haseltine. She is a Catholic birth doula, a childbirth educator. Mary has written a beautiful book entitled Made for This, a Catholic Mom's Guide to Birth, and it's available at ewtnrc.com. And you can visit Mary's website, madefforthisbirth.net. Well, Mary, we're excited to have you back again. And we want you to tell our family, what is your vision and hope for the book and also your website?
I think I would say that I really want every woman to know, every woman called to physical motherhood, to know that this birth matters and that God really wants to meet her there and has something beautiful in store for her there. It may be hard, it may be challenging, it may even be painful, but He has something so beautifully transformative for each and every woman in her own unique story, because every birth is different and every pregnancy is different, and every woman is different. So God has a unique message He wants to share with each woman in her pregnancy and birth, and the resources we provide are meant to help invite God into that process of transformation, of making that birth what He wants it to be for her. So yeah, I want her to walk away from birth changed, and remember that she's called to sanctity, she's called to be a saint through that birth, and that it matters.
And you know, it was amazing the other evening as we were going to bed, I was reading, I like to read, but I was reading about postpartum and postpartum depression. And I was just thinking to myself, I would never be reading this, you know, I'm like, what? But just so, you really deal with kind of every aspect, not just only the birth, but leading up to birth, issues with possibly wanting to give birth, conceive, and then after postpartum, you deal with the church. What can the church do to help women post having a baby? What are we doing? What are we not doing? You also say that you believe there's a maternal and neonatal health crisis in our country. So what do you mean by that? Why do you assess it that way? What are you seeing?
Yeah, well, it's very clear from the statistics that that we do have a maternal mortality rate that's actually rising in our country, in the United States, which is very surprising to a lot of people. We think we have this, amazing medical care, and a lot of women realize when they go into that system that it's not necessarily them at the center of the system, and that it's lacking in a lot of ways. That the system isn't designed for really personalized care, and our statistics are showing that maternal outcomes are actually are not good in this country. So our maternal mortality is rising, our neonatal morbidity is rising, and we have a cesarean rate in our country that's almost triple what is supposed to be, recommended as healthy and safe for mothers and babies. So that creates immediate and long-term consequences for both those mothers and babies. So we have a lot of work to do in our system to change things, and we need to be caring about these things as Catholics, because we want every mom and baby healthy and thriving, not just alive. We want them healthy, and
so we're grateful for the medical help and science, and we're so glad that being able to do cesarean sections, that a child has come forth, and I would imagine most of the times they're very necessary, but yet this is something that I hear. I'm not in deep like you, but I do hear woman after woman having a cesarean section. It's just like, wow, what is going on, or what's happening? Like I said, thank God when it's necessary that we do that. What is it about? What are you thinking?
I think there's a lot of factors at play. Yeah, I think it's a very sensitive subject because it's so intrinsic to who we are as women. So there's a lot of factors at play. There's liability at play for the hospitals. There's convenience at play. There's some of the skills that we used to have that doctors used to be trained in. They're no longer trained in anymore. So the things like breech babies used to be born normally, vaginally, and it wasn't a big problem because providers were trained in how to manage and take care of those situations, and they're not trained for that anymore. Yeah. So. So there's a lot of factors at play, but it is a problem that we need to address, and
that's just one aspect of what you're speaking about.
That's a lot.
So what do women need? I know you've got so many chapters and so much information and resources, and you always say, hey, this is information for you. It's not, you have to make a plan, and you have to speak with your doctor, and you and your husband, and you do all of this. But obviously you have a lot of thoughts on this because you have so much information, and you have the website. So what do you want people to know about how to best plan in the midst of this culture, society, the medical situation that we're in, to plan for your birth?
Yeah, we need a lot more education for women about pregnancy, about what's normal in birth, about the fact that she's the one that's supposed to be the one making decisions. God gives her the authority over her body and over her baby. That's divinely bestowed authority. And we're meant to hire, if we choose to hire a doctor or a midwife, they're working for us. We're not bound to them, and we should treat any provider, when we're searching a provider, if we're not comfortable with their outcomes, we can ask for their statistics, and they should be willing to provide them. If we're not comfortable with that, we should be willing to leave and find a provider who would be a better fit. So better preparation, better education, better support. Doulas are huge in helping reduce complications and having better outcomes. Doulas really help with that. Better preparation and education, and understanding that indeed you are made for this. You're designed to give birth. That when you are working with a doctor or a midwife, that you need to really be asking questions. It's okay. You're the one who's going to be living with the consequences of this birth and the outcome that you have. So asking questions is actually our responsibility And as we pointed out, that our statistics and our outcomes aren't that great. So it's actually smart to be asking questions of your provider and asking, do we really need to do this, or what is this test for, or what are my other options here? And not just picking the provider, that you have out of the phone book or out of what your insurance company tells you that you have to pick, or just the person your mom tells you should go with. Really looking at the options in your area and asking them, and treating those first appointments as an interview process, and going to the provider who's going to offer you the best personalized care, who has good outcomes, and recognizing that this is our choice to make.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where the education comes beforehand, where you are doing your research, or you do have a good support system, right? Hopefully it's a good Catholic community, and where other young moms have gone before, where they can nurture you and educate you, and to say, this was the route that I went, this is how it was beneficial to me. And so these are ways that we need to empower ourselves, because so many times women are rendered powerless. It's like, you go to this provider, you sign on the line, and you're going to get 3 to 5 minutes with your OBGYN, and then you're in and out of there, and I'll see you next week, I'll see you next month. As you go through that journey, it's kind of like, well, this isn't the way I wanted it to be. Right. But that's why we have to do so much homework beforehand to know exactly what we're getting ourselves into. Now, suppose someone is watching us and they're from Arizona, and they're like, oh, everything that Mary is saying is very nice, and I like it, but you're in New York, we're here in Alabama. So what is the network that is available to them? How can they get connected?
Yeah, so my biggest outreach to the people in that situation was my book, but we also have at madeforthisbirth.net, we have a directory that we've put forth that has almost 400 providers now of OBs, midwives, doulas that are Catholic, Christian, and pro-life. So people can search in their area for a birth worker that might align more with their values. And I would say I also have an Instagram community, so I do a lot of my teaching there, and offer a lot of resources through that. But I would say connect with your local, find a doula, look up the local doulas in your area, start talking with them, talk with the women who have had wonderful births. That's what I say. If you want that similar outcome, talk to the people who have come away from birth and said, that was one of the best experiences in my life. And talk with them and ask them, okay, what did you do? Who did you see? What can I learn from you? We're meant to pass this wisdom down from mother to daughter, from woman to woman, sister to sister, and we've lost that. So talk with the women who love to give birth, and maybe, especially when you're pregnant, though, you do need to have kind of some healthy boundaries, because people also love to share their scare stories with women when they're pregnant. It's almost like you have a sign on you that says, tell me all the things that I should be afraid of. So you also need to have healthy boundaries and be able to kind of put a little bubble around yourself too, to kind of deflect some of that. Because a lot of women are walking around with traumatic histories, traumatic births, and it's never been processed. And sometimes that comes out when they see another pregnant woman, if they didn't have an experience that they felt was positive, or they were treated poorly in their birth. That can kind of come out, and we're only just beginning to realize, kind of understand how birth trauma can play out, and that it's a very real thing. And so women, when they are pregnant, kind of need to have some boundaries, I'd say, around
and I think what you said is important. Look for a doula, but there are some doulas out there who are maybe new age, and they're different values than yours, and they're different beliefs than yours. And so that's where the Catholic Church needs to come back to its roots to say, wait a minute, our Blessed Mother was the greatest doula, right? Look how she assisted Elizabeth, and we had John. And so to take it back to say, you can do this through the lens of Catholicism. You can do this through the lens, because it's almost like it got hijacked. And so if you Google a doula, I mean, some bizarre things come up. Where you say, this is not what I want to get myself into. I don't want to be assisted with crystals and all this other kind of stuff. So we need to be careful to say that this is of my value, of my beliefs, and so that it's centered in the Catholic Church and in Catholicism. So one of the things that you do so well is postpartum. And so many women suffer from postpartum, and they're all alone. And they don't know who to talk to, and they need a community. And what do you want to encourage the church to do for young moms in that regard?
Yeah, it's a really difficult time for a lot of women. So many women suffer from postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. I've had my own issues with that. We need to have more support. We're not meant to do it alone, and yet so many women, especially the last, since the Industrial Revolution really, we've had these fragmented societies. We don't have a village around us anymore. We don't have these huge extended families around us anymore, taking care of us postpartum, making meals for us, making sure mom stays in bed for at least a week after she gives birth. A lot of moms are, within a couple days after giving birth, are supposed to be back to their normal life or even jobs. And it's not healthy, and it's causing a lot of problems for moms and families and babies. So we need more support from the parishes would be wonderful. Every parish, I feel like every parish should have some sort of postpartum ministry where families are getting meals brought to them after, or if not meals, then maybe cleaning if the mom needs help with cleaning or help with older children.
Yeah.
Where moms are running themselves ragged, some of us, and especially those, we're called to be open to life, so some of us have 3, 4, 5 children and we're trying to be postpartum. We shouldn't be getting out of bed really those first few weeks, but we're forced to, we don't have a lot of support or help. So parishes should have postpartum ministries tailored to the needs of each unique mom, because each unique mom is going to have different needs. More support in the parishes, welcoming families, welcoming babies, never ever shaming a mom who needs to feed her baby during Mass, because that's difficult and it's hard. And if these babies need to be fed, they have a right to be fed, so they need to be fed during Mass. Like, that's okay. We need to recognize that. If we're going to be open to life, we need to be open to that too. And the popes have talked about that, know. What else can they do? Making the parish, even the facilities, having a changing table is just a sign that we welcome babies here. We know that there should be babies here. There's a rite of blessing before childbirth that many people don't know about. Even priests don't know about it. There's an actual rite within the church where pregnant women can come and their priest can give them an official blessing from the church before they have their baby. How beautiful is that?
Our church does that.
Yeah,
do they?
we do
That's
that. Yes.
Wonderful. That's not common. So most parishes have never even heard of it, but you can ask your priest for that. I would love to see that becomes something standard, that every woman gets that from the church before she goes into her birth.
Yeah.
There's also a blessing of parents after a miscarriage. When that happens, we should know about that, the things we can do when a miscarriage happens from a Christian Catholic perspective.
Right.
And
the love and support that a couple might need after that loss.
Yeah.
As opposed to sometimes people say all the wrong things. And they need love and support and compassion and kindness during that time. Yeah,
we're encouraged after a miscarriage. The church actually encourages us to have a funeral mass for our babies. Many Catholic parents have no idea about that, that we can name our babies, and give them that dignity of naming our babies and burying our babies. So with that kind of parish support is hugely helpful.
Well, you're dealing with all these different areas. Your book is a thick book, readable book, and it just smacks of great concern for these women and the children. We just have a minute or so. Tell us again how people can reach you. You mentioned your app. How is that beneficial?
Yeah, so reach me at madeforthisbirth.net, and we also have an app available in the Apple Store, hopefully on Android soon at some point. But it's an app that has a pregnancy tracker, and it's meant to help you walk you through pregnancy and right through birth. You can play the audio tracks during your birth. And I'm on Instagram on Made for This Birth, so they can connect with me in all those places.
Mary, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you for helping to equip and beautify the church, who says we love life and we support life, and you're helping us to know the things to do to actually put shoe leather on what we're speaking about. So thank you, and God bless you. Keep up your great work.
Thank you.
God bless your beautiful family.
Thank you.
So we're going to take a break at this point. Made for This, A Catholic Mother's Guide to Birth, and of course the website, equipping God's people, especially women, to build a new culture of life. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Don't go away. Welcome back. We have with us beloved Father John Paul. Father John Paul, this is your first time on the news set. Are you comfortable? Is everything okay for you?
It's great. Why didn't you give me a recliner? I want one of those recliners with the heated seat
remote.
and everything.
Oh, totally. That's
That would not
right.
make for a good shot with
No, I don't think our Doug Keck and Peter Gagnon would have approved of that expense.
But we do want you comfortable, Father.
So, Father, what did you think about Mary Haseltine, her book, Made for This, the website, just encouraging the church and people to be all they could be regarding birth?
Well, I definitely want to read the book. I didn't get to see the first show, but I want to read the book and really educate myself as a priest, because I think us who are priests have an obligation to educate ourselves and to pass on beautiful things like this to the people that come to us, the people that we counsel in the confessional and in through spiritual direction. And just, she was just saying so many things. I think she could have went on for another half hour or an hour, and I was just, kind of listening to some things. And just a few things. One of the things she mentioned is just the reality of trauma, the trauma that takes place during birth. I think every birth is a miracle. Every birth is a miracle, and I think, there are some births that are probably more traumatic than others, that mothers experience trauma, maybe in their own body, situations in the hospital, situations dealing with doctors, maybe that force things upon them that shouldn't be. But also, I think she alluded to this too, but trauma of the child too. The trauma that takes place, if a mother is traumatized in birth, the baby is going to be traumatized too as well. So there may be, issues in going forward with a child that child, even as an adult, doesn't know about.
Right.
Because they've experienced a traumatic birth. They may be, and I think I've dealt with people in my own life that had traumatic births, and they end up later in life, suffering from that.
Yeah. Well, there's bonding issues.
Yeah.
There's emotional and physical and spiritual things that go on. And the wise mom will be able to discern, hey, something broke down in this process, and Jesus can come and repair this, and I need to invite him into that.
And Mary said something very profound, that God does give a special authority to moms, and I would say to a family, to a father too as well that's involved. But a mother, there's no one that knows her body better than the mother herself. The doctor doesn't know the mother's body, maybe through medical science and through his own training, but every birth is unique, like Mary said. And I think through education of in this method, in this practice, women can be given the tools to make choices for themselves, better choices.
That's exactly what Mary's doing. So let's close in a prayer and in a blessing, Father.
Sure. Family, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and may he turn his face to you and be merciful to you, and may he show you his kindness and give you his peace. And may the blessing of Almighty God, the Father and the Son, and the Holy Spirit descend upon you and remain with you forever. Amen.
Amen.
Go in peace.
Thank you,
Thank you
Father.
so much. Hope that you were encouraged today. In the midst of this culture of death and throwaway culture, that God is raising up people for this very time, like Mary Haseltine, to share about the wonder, the greatness, the transformative power of giving birth. All together, we will build a new culture of life and marriage in the family. God bless you and all of your loved ones. Keep it on EWTN, and you're always at home with Jim and Joy. Bye now.